Hey, let's go! I didn't think we'd get here.
Oh, yeah.
Holy moly.
Buongiorno.
Hey, everybody, welcome into The Spread, NESN.com's Football Picks Podcast, Week 1, presented by MyBookie.ag. I'm NESN.com's Mike Cole. That's Ricky Doyle. That's Andre Kachaturian. We're back for another year of making football picks for the football season. Makes sense,
It
right?
was nice of us to identify ourselves.
Yeah.
I
we didn't
got that one out of the way.
For
That's
better or
true.
worse at the end of the day.
That's what the test runs were for. Last 2 weeks we did our preview episodes with some season preview stuff, little prop bets, division winners, over-unders, things like that. This week we get into the good stuff. I don't know if there's probably, a few of you out there haven't seen this before. A few of you probably think this is ridiculous by the end of it, and that's totally within your own rights because, geez, it is pretty ridiculous. But we reconvene right around this time every week to make our picks. We'll pick the 3 best games of the week. We'll give you a bet slip, which is a new feature that we have. And we'll return an old favorite, show and tell. So like I said, we'll get into the 3 best games. As this goes out, at least temporarily or at least early on the Facebook, on NESN Facebook, you might wonder why we're not talking Patriots. That's because Patriots game is Thursday. By the time this gets up on the internet, on the YouTubes, it's going to be too late for that game. I think we're all in agreement that we like the Patriots to win that game, correct?
Yeah,
I have the Chiefs to cover. But
I also have the Chiefs to cover. Going against what I said I would do last week, picking against the Patriots was a no-no for me until week 1, I guess. So I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
But before we get into this week's slate of 3 games, I just want to remind you, we're presented by MyBookie.ag. Really glad to have them aboard this year. I've been kicking around on MyBookie. I love it. Great site. A good online sports book. Very user friendly, and actually it helped us a lot this week. Doing our bet slips when we get to parlays, things like that, helped out a lot. I didn't have to go to the calculator and figure that out. I didn't have to do any math, which is always good. So big ups to them. Make sure you go check out mybookie.ag. If you're a new user, go sign up right now. Like we say before, maybe even pause this, go sign up, get a new username. They're giving you a 100% bonus up to $1,000. It's free money. You're just basically doubling up on the house. Promo code PTS as in points. P as in Penguin. Philadelphia, sure, penguin. T as in
not where I would have went with it.
Tyrannosaurus, sure, table. Or S as in
Snake.
Sloppy Joe. So go sign up, PTS, mybookie.ag. Thanks to them. It's nice to have an actual sponsor.
S as in spread.
S as in spread.
Yeah.
So
And T as in the.
Oh!
And that's, I guess, where we'll start. Let's get into the games. This is what we've been waiting for since last year,
I'm
since
so excited.
last season.
Great games this week.
There are some good games. I felt like
Maybe that's
last
just-
year, the slate early on wasn't that good.
No,
Wasn't
it
that
sucked.
impressive. You know what's really interesting? We're not going to talk about these games at all, so maybe I shouldn't even bring it up. I like the Monday night slate a lot. 2 good games on Monday night. I probably won't stay up to watch them, but hey, that's
Good variation of games this week too. You got
Chris
some
Berman.
good divisional games,
Yeah.
but you also have the one we're about to get into,
Yep.
which is 2 very intriguing teams in the AFC.
What are you
Chris
gonna say?
Berman doing that late game this
No,
year?
he is not doing the late game. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. The late game is, and I don't know her name, but they have actually a female doing play-by-play, which that wasn't meant to be condescending, but I just don't know her name. And Rex Ryan, I believe, is doing the color for that late game on Monday night.
I miss Chris Berman.
Yeah, imagine Chris Berman, Rex
Grew up with
Ryan.
that
That would
Monday
be.
night game.
They would put a hurting on the pregame spread.
Mute.
Yeah, that too. Let's get into it. We're starting with let's see, our week 1 game. First game, week 1, Oakland at Tennessee. 2 upstart teams, kind of on a similar trajectory. I think Oakland kind of got there a little bit earlier than people might have imagined. They definitely got there earlier than Tennessee. Both of these teams had their playoff hopes dashed by injuries to the quarterback. Oakland still got in, but it was obviously a different team. Tennessee, losing Marcus Mariota kind of hurt their season, obviously. 2 good teams on the way up. Tennessee, kind of maybe a surprise to some people. A 2-point favorite here. That's again, all the lines courtesy of MyBookie. Again, 2 points. The lines really fluctuate on this one, but I guess we're going to settle in at 2 for the purposes of this exercise. So Ricky, why don't you kick us off with your pick?
I'm going to take the points there. I'm going to take the Raiders as the 2-point underdogs. And I say this as someone who's very high on the Titans this year, and I think all 3 of us are, judging by what we've said on the the last.
I think
couple
you and
of
I are
episodes.
especially high.
Especially,
on them,
I think at the end of the year they're going to be the class of the AFC South.
I agree.
And I also like them to win 10, 11 games this year. But it's just, I think it's going to be a little bit of a getting acclimated, particularly on offense. I mean, they have a great running game behind a great offensive line. I think Marcus Mariota has the potential to take another step forward this year. Added some weapons. I just feel like they got more explosive, both offensively and defensively. But when I look at this game right here, I just think the Raiders are more of a known quantity at this point. Sure. I just think that, coming right out of the gate, I feel more confident in knowing what they are as opposed to what the Titans could be. I think like I said, the Titans have all the potential in the world, but for the sake of week one, I like the Raiders going into this.
You're right. The Raiders are a known quantity. You know what I know about the Raiders?
What do you know?
They allow a lot of yards. They allow a lot of points. They masked all those deficiencies last year because they forced a ton of turnovers. Guess what? Marcus Mariota doesn't turn the ball over very much. In fact, he's developed quickly, and in the last 6 regular season games, just 1 interception. I think the Titans have an elite running game. It's going to eat the clock. Mariota's not going to make many mistakes, and they end up winning the game and covering the spread as well. That's what I'm going with, the Titans.
That was incredibly concise.
Yes. Wow.
Wow.
You're turning a new leaf.
Great job.
And you didn't yell or swear or do anything.
You gave me a good segue.
Didn't list half the roster.
I'm just going to have to tee it up for you all year.
Half the roster thing is only for preseason because there have been a lot of changes.
We'll keep that in mind. All right.
Rattle off the depth chart.
Good job. I'm not. It's not saying.
You're the one wasting time right now complimenting. Why don't you go on with your pick?
Oh, sorry. I got a reputation for being a jerk, trying to turn into a leaf too.
You're
It's a
very
new
happy
year,
today.
new people.
Very
No, it's it's all a facade. As usually is the case, you guys stole all the points, but I'm not taking the points. I'm taking Tennessee. I also like Tennessee to win this game. I actually think, and this could be number one dumb thing said by Mike this year. This game has a little bit of a sneaky blowout potential. At least not blowout, but a couple late scores make this one a little bit more lopsided than certainly the spread indicates. New friend of NESN.com, WalterFootball.com, cited a source close to Raiders left tackle. I love this. Raiders left tackle Donald Penn. He was injured during the preseason. He's going to be back for week 1. A source close to Donald Penn told Walter Football that he's quote
Love it.
fat and out of shape. Donald Penn is. So it could be and again,
Source close to Donnie Penn said this. Not a very good.
Yeah, right. So
a guy you want to keep.
Hopefully, it wasn't his agent. Yeah, seriously.
It's an arch nemesis out there spreading rumors.
For as bad as Tennessee's defense was at times last year, they could get after the quarterback. That's a good news for a guy like Brian Rakpo. Tennessee, great offensive line that neutralizes that Raiders pass rush. And as you mentioned, this is the huge thing. The Titans are going to be able to run the football against Oakland, and that's going to set up the big play, the play action. I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I'm big on the Sharp Football Analysis website this year. Oakland ranked 31st in explosive pass rate allowed last year. Tennessee ranked 3rd in explosive pass rating on the offensive side of the ball. You know what they do? They run the ball, they establish the run early, and then they take shots downfield with play action. That's what killed the Raiders last year. I think that's what's going to kill them in this game. It's just, I think the Raiders are going to get there. It's just, I think there's a little bit more of an acclimation period. I like that this game's in Nashville, although I guess that probably doesn't mean as much because there's probably going to be more Raiders fans there than are Titans fan. But also, the public is hammering the Raiders, which is a big red flag for me, especially early weeks. I'll get to that a little bit later. 2/3 of the bets on Oakland, so I'm going to fade the public here.
I'm anxious to see when we look at the numbers for last year how they change over the course of the season with the Raiders. I have no idea because at the beginning of the year, I mean, the first two weeks, I mean, they were historically bad from a secondary standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, they were giving up passing yards like it was nothing.
Yeah.
So I wondered how far behind the 8 ball they were going into the later weeks of the year. I just think that defense is going to be a lot better. I look at that Raiders pass rush last year. NFL worst, 25 sacks. How do you do that when you have Khalil Mack on your team like that? It seems like it's pretty it's impressive to have that few sacks when you have a
I guess I misspoke
magnitude.
there, saying that they have a good pass rush. It didn't show last year, but they have the talent.
They certainly have the personnel.
But I mean, I love that Tennessee offensive line though.
Yeah,
they're healthy too.
Yeah, no, and again, the Donnie Penn point you brought up, that's very interesting.
Fat and out of shape.
You don't want a fat and out of shape guy on your team.
Well, you want relatively fat and in shape is great for an offensive lineman. Now you're cooking with gas.
But he's out of shape.
Yeah, you're out of shape. That's not good.
But I also find it very ironic that after a year of destroying me for using explosive plays, you drop first game of the season, you drop it in there.
Hey,
Glad I sold something
it's
to you.
fine everything is fine in a vacuum. It's all related. You got to weave in and out. Speaking of weaving in and out, let's go to
Weave to Green Bay now.
Yeah, let's go. This game, golly, I had a tough time figuring this
It
one.
seems like these two teams play every week.
I know. This
really
is
does.
this was a tough one for me to put my finger on because there's just so many unknowns. I think with these two teams, ceiling sky high for both. I think these are the two best teams in the NFC if they play up to their potential. That's a huge if, as we saw last year. Plus, there are questions for both teams. The Seattle Seahawks on the road going to Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, as it stands right now, 3-point favorites. Andre, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about how explosive these two teams can be. MyBookie.ag has these two teams as the NFC favorites, plus 380 each. But in this one, you talk about a lot of unknowns. You know what I know? Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback.
Yeah.
And in the last 10 games, he has 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's including the playoffs. And here's another thing I know. Seattle Seahawks offensive line, very shaky. Russell Wilson threw the ball more than he ever did last season.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happened to him? Completion percentage dipped, second lowest touchdown in his career high in picks, career low in passer rating.
Very good.
And he still does not have an offensive line in front of him. So, and now they have a questionable running game.
Yeah.
I don't trust their running game. So I'll take the Packers in this one. I like their front seven. They disrupt Wilson.
Fat Eddie Lacy coming home for a little
Yeah,
revenge
the
game.
revenge game.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll get a standing ovation?
Yeah, I don't think so. I was gonna say they might throw stuff at him, but he might welcome that depending on what they throw. Ricky, why don't you kick it
They
off?
should have a pregame
Bratwurst everywhere. He's like, oh.
pregame scale ceremony to make safe makes way for his latest incentive.
Official weight.
Yeah, I like it. Fighting out of the blue corner.
Hopefully
Now-
he's paying the tab for the spread or something, considering he made his weight bonus.
I'm with you. I like the Packers in this game. I'm generally concerned for Russell Wilson's health this season. I think that if there was one flaw, as you pointed out, it was that offensive line. And you just think at how many injuries he dealt with last year, and obviously that set him back, set that offense back. They didn't have the running game that I think they anticipated when you have Thomas Rawls. And I don't know what Eddie Lacy's going to bring to the table. He's one of the biggest wild cards in the league.
Yeah.
I think you could say. I don't know. I'm rolling like you said with Aaron Rodgers, who just did You just look at what he did to come within one win of going to the Super Bowl last year. With really, you lost your top 3 cornerbacks, top 3 running backs, just decimated by injuries left and right, and he still managed to do what he did. I like Milton this year. I think he's gonna have a huge year, and I think he can air it out against his team. I know that you want to talk so much about this Legion of Boom defense and how much how good it is, the personnel on that side. Really, last year you look at it, they were better against the run than against the pass. So I think if you Green Bay, you stick to your game, don't change a lot of things. I think they win. I think they cover.
So they were better against the run than the pass?
Yes.
So the reason they were better against the run than against the pass, the reason they sucked against the pass, they didn't have Earl Thomas. They didn't have Earl Thomas in week 12, 13, whatever it was. They went up to Lambeau and got mollywopped 38-10 by the Packers. Earl Thomas is back. I think that changes his team completely. I'm taking Seattle. I still think the Packers win this game. This is more like I'm picking the push. Like if you're giving me a half point one way or another, that changes. I feel a lot better about this pick. Packers are 2.5-point favorites. Then I like the Packers here by a field goal. If the Seahawks are if the Packers are 3.5-point favorites, then I'm taking Seattle and not even thinking twice about it because I think that half point makes such a difference. This basically is a pick for push for me because I think this comes down to probably the last possession. I think neither of these defenses are as good as we'd like to think they are. Which, I mean, kind of speaks to your point. I do think having Earl Thomas back is big for them. Kind of takes away that middle of the field that the Packers love. The biggest problems the Packers had last year was throwing down the sidelines. So if you can take away the middle of the field, you kind of take away one of their best options. But again, that Seahawks offensive line, issues. Obviously issues there, but I don't think the Packers defense, as it stands right now, I think they get better eventually, but as it stands right now, I don't think they're good enough to take advantage of that. So you kind of look at that, it's all a bunch of wash, whatever. Like I said, I just think it's close at the end of the game. 3 points isn't a lot, but I still feel good about it.
I'll admit, I'm putting a lot of stock into the home field advantage in this one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You look at Green Bay defensively, were so much better at home last year. From a yards per play standpoint, that's a stat that we're always throwing out there, but the discrepancy between that stat for them on the road versus at home was it was eye-opening. Right. And then I also look at Seattle, ranked near the bottom of the league in opponent completion percentage on the road. Yeah. So just another thing that, when you kind of try to stack the deck in Green Bay's favor, I don't know.
It feels like a typical Week 1 game, though. it's so hard to get a feel on either of these teams because you have nothing to go off.
Not bad. If you're all in on Seattle in this game, I would err on the side of taking the money line. Plus 140, you bet 100 to win 140.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unless like you said, you're thinking that maybe you're pushing the situation, but if you're a Seattle supporter and you're thinking they're going to win outright, I think that might be the bet here. So.
That's where you go Take it over to my bookie.
So you get in there,
PTS,
put the PTS, and then put that down.
Or I can give you this.
I say that, but I like the Packers.
Here, this is not a money line stat. This is against a spread stat. According to BetLab, I love that site. They do not give us any sort of financial incentives, but I do like that they have great trends for Week 1. Russell Wilson, 18-6 when the Seahawks are getting less than 50% of the spread bets. Currently, right now,
what a stat! I love it.
Right now, 2/3 of the spread bets coming in on the Packers. The public loves the Packers. Vegas knows that. I think that kind of goes into the spread as well. Packers at home, people are going to be licking their chops to say that these two teams are basically even. Maybe like I said, I think it's a close game. So.
All right, let's go to Dallas.
Yeah, this as we were doing our notes earlier, this sucks. I don't want to do this. Like I'm so sick of doing. Like let's just we should have met before.
You want to talk about teams that play each other every
we're
week.
Gonna limit, every week in prime time. Let's just limit the amount of NFC East games we do this year because, God, it gets so boring talking about Eli Manning's stupid face so often. But Giants head to Dallas as it currently stands. Cowboys 3-point favorites at home. This is Sunday night, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Oh, of course it's Sunday night. But that's a stupid question.
Come on.
It's like one of those flow charts. Are the Giants and Cowboys
points.
playing? Yes. If so, it's on Sunday night. What?
I think it might be 4 points, no?
You made me correct. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, my bad. That's on me. 4 points. We went over that beforehand, and you guys both corrected me, and still got it wrong.
Right.
Anyway,
it's Week 1.
Zeke Elliott playing, at least for this week. So, what a weird situation that is. It's hard to get a read on that. You want to talk about things that are tough to predict. But he is playing this week, so that's a big bonus for the Cowboys. Didn't matter last year, though. Giants swept the season series against the Cowboys. Two very, very close games, which I'll get into when I get to my pick. But, Ricky, why don't you start us off? That is a 4-point spread on my bookie.
I love the Giants in this game. I love them to win outright in this game. And, you look back to those head-to-head matchups last year, and basically the Giants' defense, it was legit last year. It was one of the rare occasions where a team goes out, spends all this money in free agency, and they just hit. I mean, they were a legit unit, and they took Dallas's strength, obviously being that offensive line, that rushing attack led by Zeke Elliott, and they were able to neutralize that strength.
Yep.
And really force Dak Prescott to beat him. And I don't know if he's capable of doing that. I have questions about him going into this year. That's why it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that offense adjusts without Elliott after Week 1. Mm-hmm. But even with them, I just think that Giants defense, the front seven, is as good as it gets probably in the NFC. So right here, if you're going to give me points as well, the money line this one plus 170. You bet 100 to win 170. I love this game.
Yeah.
I think get more into this when we get to our betting slips in a little bit. But yeah, I love the Giants in this game to win outright.
You talk about the Giants front seven. The Cowboys supporter might say, "Oh, the Cowboys line, the Cowboys line." Well, they lost 40% of their offensive line from last year. Doug Free and Ronald Leary gone. And Dak Prescott, I mentioned this all throughout the preseason shows. Against the Giants, 0-2 last year, 51% of his passes completed. And he was, on the season, I think he was 67%. So look at that difference, 51% compared to 67%. Also had more picks than touchdowns. And again, defensively, they're just decimated. I don't know how the Cowboys are going to keep offenses take offenses off the field. They've lost Claiborne, Carr, Barry Church, J.J. Wilcox. I'm naming names again. I know you guys don't like it, but they've just lost so much. And their most recent one, Anthony Hitchens, is gone now. Oh, they're just defensively. They're just. Has
there been a worse offseason?
Well,
it's bad.
That's the thing with like the Dak Prescott thing. Overshadowed the fact that they have had a miserable offseason, both in terms of personnel leaving and just like every other guy got arrested.
Arrested, suspensions.
I mean, everybody's talking about like the Cowboys are destined to be back to the Cowboys of the '90s. It's like, well, they are going all in on that. I mean, there's a White House probably
celebrating his new contract. What are we doing?
He's coming home from the ground round from his celebration party, wherever the hell he was. Just getting popped for DUI. I mean, just people stealing stuff. It's just a bad offseason for the Cowboys.
And Giants are my Super Bowl pick from the NFC at least. Yep. So, I mean, they're gonna win this game. It's gonna be a good season for them.
Yeah, making a clean sweep. I'm taking the Giants as well. The last four, or like I said, two games last year decided by 4 points combined. 1 point game and a 3 point game. These two teams play close games. The last 8 games decided by an average of 4.1 points per game. Wow. 3 of the last 4 between these two teams decided by 3 points or fewer. So you're giving me 3 points there. I'm going to take that because these two teams match up really well. close games. And like you said, that the Giants, in hindsight, look like they were built to beat the Cowboys, at least on the defensive side. Where the Giants get points, I'm not sure. But defensively, I mean, Janoris Jenkins did a great job in Dez Bryant last year. Like you mentioned, how well they were able to stop that running game. I mean, Zeke, in the 2 games against the Giants last year, averaged 3.6 yards per carry. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry for the season.
To be fair, though,
that's a 1.5 yard difference.
They played in week 1 last year. Was the first
That's correct.
career
Yeah,
game
you're
for
right.
both of
You're
those
right.
guys.
That's a good point. That is a good point. And the Odell Beckham injury is something to monitor.
Talk about that front seven and how good they were stopping the run last year. That secondary is good too.
Yeah, it is.
That secondary is not just good; it's deep.
Yeah.
And I think that just poses a whole world of issues for the Cowboys. Honestly, I mean, I don't know what their plan of attack is going to be. I mean, I guess when you know that your starting running back is going to be off for 6 weeks, 7 with the bye, why don't you just run him into the ground week 1? Like, what do you give him, 40, 50 touches? Just give it to him and see what happens? Like, I don't even see what they roll out for a game plan offensively.
Yeah. Like you said, the Giants ranked one of the best secondaries.
Now, when the Giants get their points, that could be a whole different
That's the
story.
thing. They might have
They have
might
a
need
lot
a
of wide
defensive
receiver
touch.
threats, and I love their new tight end, Evan Engram.
he had a
solid
very
preseason.
good preseason.
They got
They
some
still have no
preseason.
running game, though.
That's okay.
It's one of those things that you just gotta piece together. You've seen it with teams in the past.
You look at
How do you protect the Packers when they have no running game with the Giants?
the Packers. I feel so much more confident about the Packers running game than I do
Like
the
Paul
Giants
Perkins?
game. Well, and what I was going to say is Eli Manning. Again, he's getting older, not as good, but he was at his best when they had like Brandon Jacobs back there. Like he's a guy that depends on the guys around him. You want to compare it to the Packers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers can go out there with you and me in the backfield and still have a chance to win the football game. So.
You guys with the random numbers.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, let's go on our bet slip.
All right,
game.
New segment.
Yeah,
Tell
new
everyone
segment.
the game. New
Bet
segment.
slip.
Brand new
We
segment.
need some sort of graphics or some sort of
Or
intro.
like bugles.
Yeah.
Weekly bet. Maybe some clanging.
Yeah.
Club music.
As always, lines for this come from mybookie.ag. Go check them out. As we said earlier, sign up. You get the PTS, that promo code. You get a 100% bonus. And you make a lot of money when you follow the bet slip segment.
Yes.
So way it goes is we each gave ourselves 100 imaginary dollars. We're not quite courageous enough to put our money where our mouth is here, or maybe we are. $100. $100 to spend it however you want. I think we all did like 3 different bets here.
I have 4, but I'm gonna go.
All right, so let's go. Yeah, why don't
We
you
have
start
graphics
off?
for them too, so you can visually
Okay,
follow.
cool.
Our lovely producer Mark DeBenedetto can toss up ME4 right now, so everyone can see my bet slip.
All
There
right,
it is.
there we
Look
go.
at that.
Kicking it off.
Andre's $100 bet slip, and I've named them. I gave special names to it.
I
got
like
them-
that. I saw your little
Yeah.
exchange that we had today
Yeah.
before we came on the show.
Look at that. The
you were
Monday
very
night
inspirational.
special is the Chargers Saints. They're both playing on Monday night. I like them in the straight up parlay, 30 to win 150. Look, the Saints. Everyone's saying the Saints. I like them winning the NFC South. Here's why. Here's what Adrian Peterson said. A quick quote from Adrian Peterson before I move on. He said, "Of course I want to stick it to them. I want to stick it to everyone we play. But going to Minnesota, playing the Vikings, yeah, I want to stick it to them." What's more dangerous than a motivated future Hall of Famer? Tell me something quick. More dangerous than a motivated future Hall of Famer?
Motivated future Hall of Famer with a. Nah, never mind.
You can't name anything.
I was going to
Yeah,
maybe
a
comment on his
motivated future Hall
parenting,
of-
but.
A motivated future Hall of Famer when he was in his prime 4 or 5
Yeah,
years
that
ago,
too.
as opposed to being 32
I
years
don't-
old.
Hey,
I don't know what he's
with
so
no
pissed
reason to
off
track
at
it. But
either.
no, go ahead.
And here's what I'm gonna. You see the second one. It's also very interesting. I got the Jets plus 15.5, Chiefs plus 15, Houston plus half point. Look,
It's a teaser, did you say?
this is a teaser. The Bills should never be favored by 8.5 points against anybody, and I'm gonna get 15 points. That's 20 to win 30.
Except for maybe the Jets.
And then here's 5 teams who I love to just win straight out, 30 to win 107. That's called the sure thing, because all 5 of these teams I think will easily win. And of course the Chicago parlay. The Arizona Cardinals used to play in Chicago, so I like the Bears and the Cardinals straight up parlay. 20 to win 96. I love the Bears this year. They're front 7. The Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl hangover. I think the Bears will win that one. The Cardinals will beat the Lions
That is
too.
ballsy. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Richard.
Finally, that was the passion and fervor that I was expecting
Yeah.
out of you today. And you really delivered it. Adrian
Oh, it's not
Peterson.
done. We ain't over yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we'll pull mine up. All right, I got a few here. I got to get off my chest.
Mark
I
DeBenedetto,
started
yeah.
one with. I took half of what my allocated funds here, and put it on my favorite favorites here, which of the week were the Falcons, 7-point favorites over the Bears. I know Andre, you're pretty big on the Bears this year, but I am not.
Bears, I think who they think they are.
Yeah, and what I think they are is going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Finished last in the NFC North 3 years in a row, and I got news for you folks. It's going to happen again this year. You just look, their defense stinks. I have no idea how they're going to stop Atlanta, who just weapons left and right. Yeah. And not only that, but I love Atlanta's defense. And if I'm Chicago, you got Mike Glennon at the helm. Not sure what they're going to do off. Kevin White, I mean, maybe he becomes a playmaker, but it's the post-Alshon Jeffrey era. Whatever. Don't like the Bears.
There's a huge return on this parlay that
I do not like the Bears in this matchup at all. And on the other end, I like the Panthers over the 49ers. I just think that the 49ers were abysmal against the run last year. They spent their first 3 draft picks trying to address that, but I think it's going to take a little time to get them acclimated. I like the Panthers. I think Christian McCaffrey's going to be the guy who, for the first few weeks of the season, until teams figure out how to game plan against them, is going to put up big numbers. So I like those 2 teams. 50 down to win about $1.40 for you, which is a nice little chunk of change. This is where I said I'd get to this later in the show. The over-under delight here with the Raiders and the Titans first and foremost. I like this one to go over. It's at 50.5. Look, last year Raiders obviously had that explosion. Both teams very good offenses. They put Titans 10 or 16 games went over last season. Raiders 12 of their 17 games went over. So I'd err on the side of them going over here, especially with all the defensive issues that we mentioned earlier. And the Giants-Cowboys, I like this to go under because, as I mentioned, I don't know where the Giants are getting their points. I spoke at length about how I don't know where the Cowboys are getting their points. So I think this is just going to be one of those weird, close NFC East, just bloodbaths.
20-17, something like that.
Something of that. So I like that to go under 47.5. You bet 40 to win 104.
I'm a big fan of your intra-division.
This is me just flying by the seat of my pants. You take that extra $10 and say, why not? Let's get a little wild. Let's get crazy. And that's why I like the Browns. Plus 320 over the Steelers. I know this is crazy. This is crazy talk. The Steelers, I think at the end of the day, are going to be one of the best teams in the AFC, one of the few real threats to New England. But it's right now, I like the Browns to carry some offseason momentum into this game. And who knows? We'll just get crazy. The Le'Veon Bell situation's been one of the more kind of underrated offseason storylines. Not sure how much playing time, how much he's going to play in this game. And then, obviously, I like the Giants over the Cowboys for all the reasons I mentioned. You're betting 10 to win 103. It just seems like, at that point, let's just do it. Let's get crazy. Let's get wild.
Yep, sure.
It's an extra 10,
Mike?
Whatever.
All right, for mine, I had 3 different bets. We'll start with a little Fade the Public special here. Again, I talked to you guys about fading the public early on in the season. Bet Labs, I talked to you about them. Underdogs getting less than 25% of the spread bets in weeks 1 to 4 are 71 and 51 over the past however many seasons that is. That's a pretty high tally. So I looked at the spread bet calculations where the percentage was coming in. Chicago +7. I like them. Cleveland +9. San Francisco +5.5. I like all those teams. The public just railing on those teams. I'm going to put those all in a little parlay. 25 to win $142. I go, my bookie it's week 1. You don't know. These games, I think these games are going to be closer.
All
Chicago,
have to hit.
I know. I understand how parlays work.
I think the Bears will hit.
I do too. I think the Bears will hit. You look at the Falcons, Super Bowl runner-ups the last 12 years, 0-12 against the spread. That's insane. So there you go. Now we got the Bears. I think the Bears are going to be better. Cleveland, 9 points. That's a lot. Like that defense, it's better. San Francisco, I like what I saw of San Francisco in the preseason. And I don't know a lot about Carolina. Cam Newton has got a bad shoulder. He threw 2 preseason passes. I don't know for sure he's healthy. So there's a lot to like there. Road favorites of 7 or more, 27 to 7 straight up, 13 to 21 against the spread in week 1. So again, that goes against the Falcons. I also like good quarterbacks. Give me good quarterbacks on the road, at home, even if I'm going to get fewer points. So I'm going to do a 6-point teaser on Atlanta. Again, I think they win that game. I don't think they cover. Pittsburgh also, same thing. I think they win, don't think they cover. And I like the Chargers on Monday night, that late game. So I got Atlanta by 1, Pittsburgh by 3, and the Chargers getting 9.5 points. That's 50 to win 75. All of those seem like good bets outright, but they feel even better at those numbers. And some random over-unders I'm going to parlay together. I like the Jets in Buffalo over 40, again, because so many people are saying that that's going to be a 10-6 game. We just need 41 points. We just need 41 points in that game. I don't care if it's all by field goals. Just get me there. Atlanta, Chicago under 49. I like Chicago.
Safeties.
Yeah, exactly. It could be a couple. That's the other thing with that one. Maybe you're going to get a touchdown on defense. That's huge. 7 points. Atlanta, Chicago. I'm on the Bears side, so I think that kind of just naturally says that it's not going to be as high scoring as the Falcons want it to be. Falcons aren't as good on grass. Doesn't play as well. They got to play on grass at Chicago.
How do you know that? Back that up.
I have a stat. I forgot.
Next week.
I'll look it up while you guys are talking.
Or you can on the show and tell you can bring some
grass.
Exactly.
And I like the Seattle Green Bay under 51. I don't know. It just feels like a 26-23 game. $25 to win $150 at mybookie.ag. Promo code PTS. Shall we do it?
Yeah, Mark, cue up the mariachi music. Our producer,
Show and
Mark.
tell.
Let's do the mariachi music. Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been dying all summer to start on this.
Yeah, I've been talking about this for months. Months on end.
So I brought a bobblehead doll of Joey Mullen, one of the greatest U.S. hockey players of all time. Unfortunately, this bobblehead doll, as you can see, is beheaded. You can see no head on Joey Mullen. He's been decapitated. And you know who else is going to be decapitated this Sunday is Deshaun Kaiser in his first NFL game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers pass rush in their last 7 games, 25 sacks, 4.7 yards allowed per attempt, which was one of the best in the league. And the Steelers defense pretty much led that team to the playoffs last year. Ben Roethlisberger struggled. The Steelers defense is very underrated. I think they're going to cause plenty of problems for the Cleveland Browns, who allowed 66 sacks last year. That's not going to change. Deshaun Kaiser's head might fly out of the Cleveland Browns Stadium and into the Ohio River. No, it's a lake. Lake Erie, right?
That's by
is that
Cleveland.
Yeah, it's going to
let's just say the nearest body of water.
nearest body of water.
Cleveland. The only thing Cleveland did all offseason was improve its pass. But
their offensive line was good last year, but it was good for their rushing.
And they got better.
But come on, it's a rookie quarterback against a really good pass rush defense. I predict the Steelers get 6 sacks in week 1.
Okay.
6.
I think the Browns are going to be entertaining.
I've been on the Browns all season long, and you guys criticize me every time I talk about the Browns.
How good they're at, like how many wins they're going to finish with, but I think that they're going to be incredibly pesky, especially out of the gate.
Week 1, I like that rookie quarterback.
That's why I put them in my parlay. If you bet 10, just on a straight up, just them to win outright, would have been 32. That's why I love that Giants bet, throwing that in there. But that's besides the point. All right, can I go?
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, I got a GPS. This basically symbolizes that the Indianapolis Colts, they changed the direction a little bit this offseason. They bolstered their defense, clearly realizing that's been one of their fatal flaws in recent years. But just because they're going in a new direction doesn't mean they're going in the right direction. All right, I'm not entirely sure they're pulling the right strings, and I back that up by saying, look at that offensive line. It still stinks. They got Scott Tolzien playing quarterback week 1. I don't know what's going on with that Andrew Luck situation, but you want to talk underrated storylines, that's one of them. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't sound like if he's close to returning, so who knows? And the fact that they're just kind of on a whim throwing Scott Tolzien out there because he knows the system, trading for Jacoby Brissett. Like, what are you doing here? So, your defense could be slightly improved, but they're going to end up sucking this year. I really think the Colts are going to be terrible. I think it starts this week against the Rams, who on previous shows we've been
the Rams were in my sure thing parlay. That's my lock of the week.
If they could score any points, they would blow them out.
I am just guessing Jared Goff is going to take a huge leap forward.
He's got the weapons.
Yeah.
I'm
banking on Jared Goff.
Colts have gone in a new direction. Finally, I guess. They're going to go in a new direction with their head coach at some point, but we'll save that for another week.
It's just so hard to justify firing him when this quarterback is not.
It's true. So I guess you wait a few weeks. You do assuming Luck comes back in a few weeks again. I don't know. Who the hell knows? But I just think that's not going to be a good team.
Yep. Mike, wrap it up.
So just real quick, the under is 10-4-1 in the Falcons' last 15 games on grass. So there you go. That's a pretty good one. You guys looked at the New York Jets?
You get better cleats.
Yeah.
Footing is terrible.
New York Jets depth chart lately. No, it sucks. The Jets are terrible. They're going to be terrible all year. That's nothing new. The quarterback position for the Jets, awful, terrible, gonna be awful all year, nothing new. That's why I brought in, this is called a book, Andre. Paper Lion by George Plimpton. Let me just read off the back of this real quick. In Paper
Lion.
Lion,
Read off there.
and I'm just not gonna read the whole thing.
This is
This is the Spark Notes version.
Journalist George Plimpton lives out every football fan's fantasy. After training with the Detroit Lions for 4 weeks, 36-year-old aspiring rookie quarterback ultimately calls a series of plays in the exhibition game. I think the Jets should do this for real. Like, let Mike Cole write Paper Lion too. I'll come play quarterback. I did it in middle school, and we won a couple of games, threw for a couple touchdown passes.
Josh McCown has
Wasn't
NFL
terrible.
experience.
I don't care. He just stinks. Like, it's just, they stink. They need, just start letting people play quarterback. On the Bill Simmons podcast, I think it was this week, they had a great idea. Let's just bring back all these old receivers too. Like Terrell Owens could go play for the Jets. Just like make this a sideshow. You want to suck
it's
anyway,
becoming
so
that
like
way.
at least
Talk
make it
about fading
entertaining.
the public.
Well, I know that's the thing.
They're not going 0-16.
No,
The
they
fact that
probably
that's
won't.
a discussion
They probably won't.
is asinine. They're going to win 3 games this year.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're going winless either. But
I think one of those wins will
I
be
believe
against the
the
Patriots.
over-run was 4.5. I think it was.
did you get
I think
that?
I think
4.5, but with like a ton of juice.
I think but I mean I think they hit the under.
Yeah, no,
easily, but
I agree.
I don't think they're going 0-6.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It's so easy to back you away.
I wouldn't-
mean,
yeah.
it's to say, like,
Powell and Matt Forte combined for 1,500 yards last year. They got a good running game.
No, like I said,
listen, I like the Dolphins, but who's to say Jay Cutler doesn't puke all over his shoes on one of those matchups? So.
yeah. Also,
The division games,
underplayed storyline. The Hurricane screwed the Dolphins.
Oh,
not to like
absolutely.
make a
16 straight games now.
You know what I mean? And they play what they had was, this is getting kind of off focus, but week 10 they play at Carolina on Monday night. Week 11 was their bye week, so now they have a short week 11 against Tampa Bay, a good team, and then they go to New England in week 12. They're screwed now. So it's all coming up Patriots. Like I said, I wouldn't bet on that under because of the juice, but what I might do after this, go to mybookie.ag. I already signed up, so I don't get the promo code, but they did have they have these awesome like specific player props or cross-sport props. And I think I might look into this one. Thursday night, the New England Patriots host the Kansas City Chiefs. You can go, what would be higher? The Cleveland Indians runs scored against the Chicago White Sox or Tom Brady touchdown passes. The Indians are favored by 1.5 runs, so the Indians have to score 2 more runs than Brady throws touchdown passes. Even if Brady throws 4 touchdown passes, I'm probably putting some money down at my bookie on the Indians, who have scored 9 runs, 5 runs, 11 runs, 5 runs, 3 runs, 10 runs. They haven't lost in a month and a half. The White Sox suck, so that's something to keep an eye on.
It's also easier to score 15 runs in the game than to throw 15 touchdowns.
So I mean,
I was also gotta say I'd like to check the pitching probables, but it's the White Sox, so I don't think it really matters at this point. I know what their pitching staff has to offer.
I tell you, maybe it's George Plimpton.
Well,
Who
what
knows?
doesn't have?
I was wrong about the White Sox this year. I thought they would be much better.
Yeah, they suck. Oh, that's right. You did think they were going to be good. They are terrible. But that's it. Like we said, go check out mybookie.ag, promo code PTS for that bonus. You want to get that before the season starts because it's a new season. There's money to be won. They'll help you double up on the house, so go check them out. Big ups to them. Really appreciate their help this season. Week 1 in the books, at least for the spread.
Let's do this again next week.
We'll go do a surgical procedure.
Got a headless bobblehead rolling around. So enjoy the football games this week. We'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us.